Welcome to Doc's Daily Dose for Dads, prescribed by Dr. Harrison. Today I have with me a very special guest, Arkansas State Representative from District 36 and newly elected House Democratic leader, Charles Blake. Chuck, what's going on, man?
What's up, Dr. Tonio? How you doing, my dude? It feels strange calling you doctor. I can't believe, man. Antonio's a doctor.
Yeah, wow. Man. It took 5 years, bro, but I got it done.
Hey, man. Time is relative, man. Time is relative.
Right. So before we get started here, man, I'm going to read off a nice list of accomplishments so everybody knows how awesome you've been doing since college here. So stick with me. Don't blush too hard, all right?
All right. I'm listening.
Representative Blake serves on the House Judiciary Committee, the House Aging, Children and Youth Legislative and Military Affairs Committee, the Joint Committee on Advanced Communications and Information Technology. He's currently the president of CENARC Transportation LLC, which specializes in non-emergency medical transportation for patients. Served as Director of Advancement, Director of Finance and Operations, and was a member of the founding administration team for Little Rock Prep Academy. Appointed by the mayor and board of directors of the city of Little Rock to serve as an at-large member for the Little Rock Citizens Evaluation of New Tax Committee. Served a 4-year term as the Daisy Gatson Bates Holiday Committee. Spends time as a board member for the Boys and Girls Club of Central Arkansas, also a board member of Southside Main Street, and is a member of the Baptist Church. Graduated from Grinnell College in Iowa, which is where I know him, why he's a special guest for me. Man, before we even get started, bro, I just gotta say I'm super proud of all you've been doing, bro.
I appreciate that, man. I'm trying to. That means so much to me, man. That my guys and my family and my friends are proud of me, man. That means more than all the accomplishments, all the awards.
You know, it's funny. I've been having to do a lot of different interviews for magazines or podcasts, and when the story about my knee gets brought up, I'm always like, yeah, you know, it's a humbling experience having to ask, my roommate, my linebacker. I always linebacker try to help me, get into the shower and things like that. And it's always funny that I always considered you my linebacker, not the team's, but my.
Same here, man. I tell people all the time. He's like, yeah, I think our most successful year was my senior year, but man, my safety got hurt that year, man. And my guy, man, we had some new schemes we were gonna try out. We had some things that we were gonna shock the conference with. And first game,
man. It's all right. Game. It all happens for a reason. Well, the reason for all the listeners out there, besides what Chuck has done with his life and his career, that's not the reason I wanted him on. The reason I wanted him on today was because with all that amazing stuff that he's been doing, he's still holding it down as a loving father. And I can see it in the way that he talks about his kids, shares about his kids, the pictures he posts. And so that's why I wanted to have Chuck on today. So Chuck, just share with the listeners a little bit about who you are and how you grew up, man.
Man, I am as Dr. Tonio has told you, I am Charles Blake. I'm Little Rock born and raised. I am what you just hit on is something that I holds extreme value to me, and that's because my dad has always told me, his purpose in life was to be a father, and so I grew up in a house with 2 brothers and a host of other kids who my dad kind of just took in over the years, and that I think that's what's leading me to where I am now. I have 4 kids and 1 bonus daughter, so I have a 12-year-old, 10-year-old, 8-year-old, 6-year-old, and 2-year-old, and we are. I know, man, hands full. We're playing basketball, softball, baseball, golf, and tennis, and my free time is their time. So it's really a blessing, Tonio. I never thought I'd be here, but my life is fulfilled because of my children.
What are all your kids' names, Chuck?
We got Chloe Ray, Charles, Ari Cruz, Camille, and Bronx is my baby.
Nice.
Bronx Bronx, Giovanna.
Okay. So you mentioned a little bit about your relationship with your father. How has that shaped your behavior as a dad?
Man, having that tangible example of what fatherhood is has it eases that fear for me, because what I see in him is things I try to the highest form of flattery is trying to be just like him, but also knowing what he did as a father, that I try to be better. And that's the biggest thing, is just having him there as a tangible example of what fatherhood is, has totally shaped the way that I see life.
Now, you're in an interesting region of the country, right? Especially,
Yes.
with everything that's going on today. And I've told this story on my other podcast before, how I remember coming for Thanksgiving, you telling me, like, this street, that is the divide racially, as well as when we went to certain parts of town, I was the lightest besides the light that was holding, right? Like,
yeah, I was light skinned until I brought you home.
So I'm curious, raising Black children, especially in the South, what are some of the unique obstacles you face as a father?
Man, again, going back to the way I was raised, I understand now that I'm grown. I understand that a lot of the things my parents put me in was very intentional. I would go play baseball, where I was the only black boy on the team, and then I would leave there and go to the boys' club and play basketball, where it's all black kids. Yeah. And what I think that's what I was trying to tell you when you got here, is that in California it's different. In the East Coast it's different, but in the South you're either black or you're white. And now it's either you're black, you're white, or Hispanic. There is no, I guess, gray area. Right. But and that's something that I have to tell my kids, is being very strategic about having them involved, where they have to deal with those challenges of being the only person who looks like them, and then making them aware of that, and saying, I got you here because of that. You need to learn how to deal with this, because this is our reality here in the South.
And I think that was a real smart move on your parents' part. And my parents did something similar. I went to a very affluent, very white private school. So from there, 8 to 3, and then coming back home to the neighborhood, I got to see different sides of things, which allowed me and you to be able to navigate places like the middle of Iowa.
Exactly, man. Not being comfortable everywhere. Not really feeling like you don't have a place, because you're like water. You have the ability to adapt to your environment.
Now, we're both, I'm learning now that in our age bracket, we're still young, right?
Yeah, forever young.
Right?
Forever young.
Now, being a young dad, is there different challenges that are presented to you, or also, what is it that you like most about being a young dad?
Well, to answer the first part of your question first, man, maturing with my kids is something that I can see now that I'm getting older, even though I'm still young. I had my first at 25. So now looking back, now I'm 35, looking back at 25, I was a kid.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything. I thought I knew everything, but I didn't know anything. And those are the challenges, I think, of being a young dad, is you're still maturing. You're still figuring out who you are. So it's kind of difficult to try to mold a life or put what you have into a kid when you're still learning who you are. On the flip side of that, though, it is absolutely awesome to be able to relate to my kids, to go out and play with my kids, to know that I can have a conversation about pop culture that my 10-year-old is talking about, that I'm tuned in to, because I'm just 35. You know,
Right. Yeah.
I'm consider myself young. You know, you want to talk about? Yeah, I know who 2 Chainz is. Yeah,
Right.
we can have a conversation.
Do you find yourself coming with some of the old man stuff though? Like, man, I don't know about this music today or these things today. Back in my day, type thing.
Man, I tried. I hear myself doing it, and I try to stop. As soon as I hear myself saying, "Oh man, this mumble rap," and I just stop and be like, "But you know, they're young. I understand it. You know? But
Right.
yeah, I definitely do."
Okay. Now, you know, I know you deal with politics all day, and I'm not sure how much you want to get into it. And I'm not asking for any specific political stance, but you know, my dad lately, all he's been doing is watching CNN. Every comment out of his
Man,
Trump, and I'm
man,
just curious. In today's world and political climate and arena, you know, because you're there firsthand, do you worried at all about your kid's future?
Every day, man. It's intimidating. It's frightening because what I'm seeing here in the South and Arkansas, especially and on a national level, is that the institutions that have been around that have supported those protected classes, if public education, if it's healthcare, you know, I'm seeing the destruction of those institutions, and I don't know what kind of environment, what kind of world, where it would be when my kids are 25, you know, and that's the frightening part is that you don't have any sense of comfort or security over knowing that public schools will be there forever, or healthcare is a right. You know, that may not be the case in 5 years. So it's really, really frightening. And then, you know, I like to think of social media as, because, you know, social media started when we were, sophomores or junior in college.
Yeah, I try to tell
literally started.
Yeah, I try to tell everybody. Facebook back in the day, like we would all been in trouble, you know?
Yes, if that was Facebook when I was in high school, I would not be doing what I'm doing now.
No, right?
Yeah. Oh, no. So when we're, you know, juniors, sophomores, juniors in college, you have this social media thing that's just starting. And what I'm seeing now with high school, even college kids, that they have not experienced computers, iPhones, without having social media. There is no World Wide Web without social media. So everything is coming so fast. It's like a microwave generation. They get their news so fast. If it's and this is what K-Show used to tell us, if it's misinformation, disinformation, or information, they're getting it all so fast, you know? And that's the frightening part, is that we're seeing things that are happening in real time. There is no covering up of things that like happened in Ferguson or with Trayvon Martin or with that. We're seeing that happen in real time, and it's frightening to parents. It's frightening to kids. We don't know what the division is going to be, you know, in 10 years from now.
Well, that's an interesting comment, because I battle all the time with how much should I let my kids use technology? How much is too much? How much is too little? Because I don't want them to be so behind when they become older. But I mean, my 4-year-old can get on my tablet, open it up, go to YouTube, pick what he wants, watch it, scroll through, and I sit back and I'm
amazing, isn't it?
I'm amazed, but I'm also scared.
It's amazing, man.
You know, what is he coming into contact with? You know, so what's your take?
You know, we have to have this constant debate, our conversation about how much screen time is too much screen time. You know, that's not a conversation that our parents had to have. I mean, when we grew up, we had one TV and we had to share with our parents, you know, and that's completely different now. You have cell phones, you have iPads, you have tablets, and there is a fear about what is this going to do long term to our children. But at the same time, I think my opinion is that I don't want them to be hindered by not being used to or comfortable with technology as everyone else will. Because there was a stat that came out that we were talking about on our podcast a couple weeks ago that there are companies that are literally looking at, that are valuing how well you navigate social media over what college you went to. And that just blows my mind, man. That blows my mind. That you have major companies who are looking out and saying, how well are you on social media? I'm going to make that decision because we value it so much compared to what school you went to.
Yeah, it's crazy. I recently resigned from teaching grad school after a decade. And I was like, you know what? I do want to have something a little part-time that's fun that I can just do, that's easy. And there's this fitness instructor thing. And I was like, you know what? I'm just curious. It's right by the boys' school. I could do a class right before I go pick them up. And I had applied to it. And the reason that they gave me the job was because they saw an Instagram post they thought was really fun with me and the boys. And that was the first time I did something like that.
Yeah.
You know, it was like we saw your Instagram post. And I'm thinking to myself, like, you went searching for me on social media? That, to me,
that's the first thing they do now, man. That's the first. They'll do that before background checks now, Tony.
Right.
That's the first thing they'll do. And it's one of those things where I don't want to hinder my children and say, get off that, you only have 2 hours of screen time a day. Man, we have to monitor and we have to parent their usage, but that's the future, man. That is the future.
So I got a personal question for you here. Now, I think all parents have their own little special thing with their kids that they do that maybe no one else does, that they came up with. What's your special dad thing? The thing that, that you do that no other dads do with their kids? Maybe an activity, a saying, or something like that.
Oh man, let me think. Because I try to, when you have so many like me,
right?
You try to have unique relationships with all of them. I tell you what I do. This is what I do. I tell bedtime stories. I talk about fads, but I do it in my Migos voice. I do everything in my Migos voice. Everything. Time to go to bed. Go to bed. That's what I do. And they love it, we read books and they'll bring me Dr. Seuss books and they absolutely love it because they're laughing at me, but I know they're laughing at me, so I'm fine with it.
So that keeps them in light of, that's dad, that's my dad, that's his thing. I'm curious,
exactly,
with what you do for a living, do your kids see you as in a different light? Do they think dad's president? Like, do they think that, are they well aware of, exactly what you do in the political arena? Or is it still kind of a grandiose thing that is, Superman type status? Or have you kind of kept them based more in reality of exactly what you do?
Well, that's an interesting question. And I'll tell you what I have done, and I've been very intentional about, is that my kids come with me. I expose them to everything. Nice. If we're going to fundraisers, they come. When we're in session, they get dropped off during session at the Capitol from every Tuesday, every Wednesday. Everybody, the governor knows them, invite them into their office. Like, everybody at the Capitol knows my kids. They're there just as much as anybody else, and that's one of the things where it's become it's normalized.
Right.
To them, because for the last 5 years, that's all they've known. And it's not, they see me on the news once or twice a week, or they'll pick up a paper and somebody say, I saw your dad, I see your dad's name. And it's normal to them, and that's what I'm pretty proud about, is that I really, really want for them to share this experience with me. To be exposed to just about everything, man, and that's I'm really proud of it.
Nah, I love it. My the boys, they come to football practice. They're there during summers.
Yeah,
with me. It's just nice to have them around and just for them to engage constantly.
Man, that is enriching their lives, man.
Yeah,
just being there, seeing me in action, knowing that they're not the only ones that I fuss at.
Yeah.
They're not the only ones I get mad at, you know.
And,
So
and I got to keep it real too. When my kids are around and I'm doing anything professional, it boosts me up a notch to make sure.
Oh yeah.
Point. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. You are. No matter what you do, you're Superman to your dad.
Right.
I mean to your kids. You're that guy. So when I'm there and they're sitting up in the rafters in the gallery while we're in session, you know, I might put a little extra on it just because they're there.
Now, would you be okay with them following in the footsteps of dad with their career, or would you want them to do something totally different?
Man, I'm okay with it. I think we've talked about this. You know, we all have a purpose, and I think I've been blessed with a lot of gifts to serve others, and that's how I view public service right now. It's something that I have a skill set, and I have the training that I've been blessed with gifts. And if this is a family business and my kids want to get into it, I'll be there to support them. If they don't want to get into it, then there are plenty of things they can do.
Okay. Well, let me go here then, because I often have this debate with my wife, because, you know, I went to graduate school, and she didn't go to college. So knowing that you've gone to college, what it's afforded you and the career path you have, if your kids don't want to make that move, are you okay with it, or are you more everyone's going to college?
I am encouraging them all to go to college. But, and I think I told you this, I am the first male to graduate from college.
Yeah.
In my family. You know, my dad started going to school after I was already in school. And my brother, who is highly successful, has never graduated from college. So I do know that there are opportunities out there that you don't have to go to college for, but I would like to encourage them all to take that period. And it's a period of growth, of figuring out, you know, who you are, not as who you are as a person, not as an adult, as a person. And I would like them all to have an opportunity to go away, find themselves, and then come back to daddy.
Yeah. No, it's a total social experiment, man. And I tell people there's things that I've done, good and bad, in Iowa that you couldn't do anywhere else in the world. And yeah, I would never.
But you learn from all those experiences.
All of them.
And I know about them all too. So you remember.
We'll leave that word.
We stepped on campus the same day, and we left the same day. So stories, I got stories.
Now you have daughters, and well, first off, side note, what's your little brother doing? Since you saying he was super successful, what's he doing?
No, that's my older brother. He owns a funeral home. He owns a marketing company. He owns land. Now my little brother is coaching football and
Nice.
and teaching school, man. Yeah,
Okay.
he's at our high school, the historic Little Rock Central High School, and he's coaching quarterbacks there.
So he never got into the comedy game, huh?
No, he did. He was funny though, wasn't he?
He was funny. That was funny.
he was funny, but no, he's saving all his jokes for classrooms.
Okay. Now you got daughters and sons, and
yes, I do.
What's the biggest difference in the way you raise your daughters versus the way you raise your boys, or is there no difference at all, and you try to instill the exact same values and behaviors across the board?
I try to instill the exact same values and behaviors across the board, but with my sons, they're 10 and 8, and I have to continue to tell them, you're African American men in America. You're
right.
Black in America. Everything's going to be harder for you. There's an expectation on you to fail. So I wouldn't say I'm harder on my boys, but I make sure that they're more aware of their surroundings, aware of their circumstances, aware of opportunities that they have that their peers might not have. So it's one of those things where, especially with my boys, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for my girls as well. But they're always daddy. You know, it's at some point over my boys, man. It's like, dude, you gotta get over that. You gotta figure it out and move on, because nobody loves you but me. And that's something that my parents should tell me all the time. Nobody out here loves you but us. So you gotta figure out how to make it work.
Nice. Now, I see too that you have just started, or not just, but recently started working on a podcast, and you guys are doing big things. What's the name of the podcast? Tell folks about what you're talking about, what you're doing, so they can go check it out.
Thanks, man. Thanks. We partner with a publication here in the state. I named the podcast Rock the Culture. You can find us on Spotify, on iTunes, on SoundCloud. Wherever you listen to podcasts. That's the benefit of partnering with the publication, man, is that they have us out there. But man, what we try to do is we focus on politics, opinions, on culture, all in Central Arkansas. So we have 15, 20 minutes where we do the top news stories of the previous week. And that's usually stories that aren't covered by our local news stations, but maybe viral on social media. So we do the top 3 local news stories, and then we transition into a segment where we talk to people who are making a difference in Central Arkansas. So if that's entertainment, if that's philanthropy, if it's business, we're bringing people that look like us, that are like-minded, that sound like us, and we're giving them a platform. And that's the most difficult thing, because I've told my friend Antoine Phillips, who started this podcast with me, that when I first heard about podcasts from you, I've been listening to your podcast for like the last 5 years. Has it been 5 years?
4.5, yeah.
4.5 years. So yeah. That's the thing about living in the South and living in Arkansas, is that we're behind the cycle. So things that you guys have been doing for 5-10 years, we're just catching up to. Gotcha. So there is a lot of opportunity here, because we just don't have stuff. Nobody's ever done it. There's not a big creative mindset to say, let's look to see what's successful on the East and West Coast, and try to bring it here before anybody else does. And the thing that we noticed is that there was no space, there was no outlet for people like us, for Black people, for young, for multicultural, for progressive people to actually get their stories out and get their opinions out. So we just created, man, and it's taken off. We didn't know how big it could be, how big it's going to be. But man, we've just finished our first. We're doing 4 10-week seasons per year. It's been a blessing, man. I can't go places now without people saying, "Can we partner with you? Can we sponsor you? Can we put some ads on your podcast? Can you come here and give a speech? Can you do a live show here?" So it's one of those things where people are just hungry, because like what you just said, your dad is glued in to CNN. Everybody's glued into something. I don't know if it's TMZ or World Star or Media Takeout, but they need to be tuned into what's happening on their streets. I have a saying, man, what affects you on your block affects you at the city hall, affects you at the state capitol. Politics is local, and politics is life. And if we can engage that 18 to 45-year-old voter who's never been informed, who's never been engaged, man, that's our mission.
Nice. Well, congrats on that, man. And I might have to reach out to y'all with Rock the Culture to see how in the world y'all market, because out here it's tough, boy.
I know.
Sponsorships.
But that's the thing, though, is that we're doing something that's so different here because nobody's done it. So everybody, that's the big, when you're in the number one market in America, like we're like 48 or 50. You're number one. You're living in 1 or 2, and it's so many fish in that sea.
There is.
We're here, man. we just found out that there was a lake to begin with. You know what I'm saying? so we don't have much competition. Now I'm seeing, and this is interesting, that since we've been going for 13 weeks, and I kid you not, I've heard about more new podcasts in the last 3 weeks. I want to say 15 people, 15 organizations, from radio personalities to athletes to my colleagues. Everybody's starting a podcast now, and I mean, I love it. I love it because I know we were on the right track. And the thing is being first to market never hurts, right?
Nope, it doesn't. I love the fact that you guys are approaching it from the standpoint of, you know, something for people that look and sound like you, because that's the whole point of what I was doing with Doc's Daily Dose for Dads is, you know, that old way of raising children and what the parent looks like today is so different than what it was when we grew up.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Everyone needs a different messenger. Not everybody can relate to the Dr. Phil. Somebody might need a doctor who looks like me to come and talk to them or help out in some way. So I'm really feeling that.
You're right, man. You're right, and that's what I've tried in my short career so far is when I go to these schools and talk, I don't turn down any engagement to go speak to any student ever. And when I go, you know, that's what I'm preaching, man, is that I grew up down the street from you. You know, I've had opportunities that I've taken advantage of that other people didn't, but I am no different. I look like you, I sound like you, I grew up down the street from you. I want to be tangible.
Nice. I like it. So I want to switch gears here, and we're getting close to the end. You played ball all your life. Football in college. And, you know, I got 3 boys, and I'm curious. With everything.
Oh, man, this conversation.
Are you going to let them play? And if so, how young?
See, now this is where I am. We started with soccer, okay?
Right.
So
which is a good point. We started with soccer too, bro, on everything.
Man, they were dominant. Now my 12-year-old played AAU basketball. They moved her up. They moved her up to when she was 7 to play 10-year-old soccer, like dominant. Okay. None of them like soccer anymore.
No, that's Abe. He was so good. And you got to keep playing. He's like, no, I don't like this.
I mean, she was being recruited by the travel team. She was getting recruited to play national, and she does not want to play anymore. Yeah. So she's playing AAU basketball. My boys are playing AAU basketball, and their best sports are probably baseball. But I let my 8-year-old play tackle football last year because he was just he saw some pictures of me when I was 6 and 7. And he was like, "Oh, Dad, you played when you were 7?" And I was like, "Yeah." Why you won't let me? So I let him play for a year, and he enjoyed it. But then the study came out, and I'm not going to question science when it's research over research over research. And what science says is that you should not play tackle football before you are 11 or 12 years old.
Right.
And we're going to try to stick by that and wait till middle school. If they still have that burning desire to play tackle football in middle school, I'm not going to be the dad who played and not let their kids play. Right. I mean, I remember how exhilarating it is. I remember how therapeutic it was, you know. And you and I played the game almost the same way.
Yeah.
You know, it was reckless abandon.
Yep.
You know, I used my stature to my advantage because people would be like, and I'm coming up hitting you in the mouth all the time. And that was therapeutic to me. The stuff that I couldn't get away with in the classroom, I could do it after school and not get in trouble for it.
Yep. That is. I tell people all the time.
Wonderful.
You can do stuff on the football field that'll get you arrested in the real world.
That'll get you arrested, especially when I was in high school, man. You can do some stuff on the football field and that may be a little social pack. It's a collision sport, right?
Yeah.
But
Nah,
yeah, so if
well, I was saying my oldest, because I think it's mostly too because I played football and then coach it. They've been watching that Friday Night Tyke stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, they really want to play tackle, and I'm just like, it's not the big blows, it's the successive little ones. And I was like, there's no reason for you to put your body through that until you get into puberty. Like, let's wait until you go to school, try it out then. There's no reason for you at 8 years old to be banging heads with kids. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Because when you play the game like we play the game, and our kids are going to play the game like we play the game.
Yeah.
But when you play the game like we play the game, man, practice was fun to me. I look forward to practice. I look forward to hitting people in the mouth in practice. Like that was the best part of it. And who knows what that did to us long term, But it's one of those things where when you're hitting when you're in the trenches and you're going up against 300-pound linemen every single day for 12 weeks out of the year, it's going to have some kind of physical effect.
It definitely will. I remember one of my fondest memories of college football was late in the season practicing at that park at the end of the road where it had lights.
Man, do you remember meeting in the backfield?
Me and you playing defensive end and wreaking havoc.
Dude, that was right before our senior year, and Hollowball said he was going to put that in the package.
I remember too that we were wreaking so much havoc. Wallace pulled the offense to the side, and while we were on the defensive huddle, Pink pulled a Snickers out of his thigh pad.
Yes, he did, and started eating it.
Yeah, man. Why wait? Hungry? Why wait? Like, come on, Pink.
You hungry? Why wait? Oh, man. And then you remember how much, because we hadn't played like that because they were still playing in the old way. They actually changed a lot of the defense because of us. That's what Harassy was telling me. We're throwing the defense in because of you and Antonio. And we're moving Pudge back a little bit because of you and Antonio.
Yeah.
And I remember just having so much fun, laughing after every play because we were in the backfield almost hitting each other every single play, man.
That's what it was all about, man. So
that's what it was.
Well, let me finish off this here then. What if you could share something with fathers out there? What would you want to share? What piece of advice or wisdom would you want to give them, man?
Man, we just, and staying in the mindset we just in, man. Everything is practice. Every mistake you make is so you can be better next time. That don't be afraid to make mistakes, man. Don't be afraid to be who you are. There is no blueprint. There is no guidebook or user manual on how to be a father. Those kids are looking at you as a superhero, and you don't have to be one, but you can practice.
Nice. I like it. I'm all about consistency and practice, man. I try to tell
it's all about practice, man.
When you make a mistake, it's not that you're a bad parent. It's the ones who recognize their mistake and try to fix it. Those are good parents. You know what I mean? It's not about
exactly.
So, Chuck,
you're absolutely right, man.
How can people find you if they want to reach out to you?
Man, I am on Facebook at Rep Charles Blake. I am on IG at Rep Blake 36, and I'm on Twitter at Charles J Blake. And I'm a public official, so if you Google Charles Blake Arkansas, I will pop up.
Yeah, boy, you got a Wikipedia page.
I got a Wikipedia page. I'm somebody, man. I got a Wikipedia page. Exactly, man. I was like, oh, I got a Wikipedia. So I didn't know the rules to Wikipedia, so I tried to go in there and just start adding random stuff.
6'6", 250.
Exactly, 6'1", 225. That's who he is.
Well, I appreciate it, Chuck. I really thank you for coming on and being willing to talk to people and share your story and how you work as a father. I definitely think it's going to help some people who are listening, man.
Yeah, man. Let's stay in touch more, and let's get these boys together, man.
I like it. That's Docsdailydosefordads. Dads. Don't forget to hashtag Docsdailydosefordads, hashtag 4D, all social media at RebirthBX, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music. Check out the website, rebirthbx.com, and the YouTube channel, Docs Daily Dose for Dad. Signing out.